Yeah, Coach, just what's your message to Ty Simpson about the fumbles and maybe how to kind of avoid those moving forward?
Yeah, same as normal. A couple of them that came up there is obviously, for Ty, take care of the ball in the back end of the pocket, two-handed monster, and the message all week that Ty, knows and is frustrated about was got to get the ball out of his hand, and then understanding when your back gets chewed up in protection, what's going on with the route concept and where to put the ball, and Ty knows that he's beating himself up more than anybody.
Right in front there, Nick.
Yeah, what are the coaching points to running backs about pass pro after just what they put on tape in this game?
Yep, there was 2 reps there. Jam is normally a really dependable guy, and it doesn't come down to anything but balance and hand placement. And Jam just kind of got his weight out over his toes and leaned on one, and Daniel got his weight back inside, and the guy out leveraged him too quickly. And normally those guys are pretty down solid in that. So I think what we told the guys was making sure that we're putting them in enough positions during the week. Are we getting enough one-on-one reps with the your true one linebackers at pass rush? And if we're not doing enough of that for the guys, we got to supplement it, because when you look at something happen on film and it's not what your guys are capable of, it's more about the message we try to give to our guys is like, what are we not giving you enough of in practice? Not get to the film and MF the guys for stuff they didn't do. So we want to fix the problem, and I know our defense, they'll want to do more one-on-ones if that's what we want. So we got to do a better job with that, I think.
Jump to the left side, front row, Colin.
Hey, Ryan, could you take me through kind of what your game plan or what your approach was on that final 7-minute drive there against Oklahoma? Kind of what was it, just moving down field periodically, setting up a field goal, or kind of what was kind of the plan there?
The plan was to score. 7 minutes, 2 timeouts, plenty of time. And even at the end of the game, I know there was, maybe some people wondering about that, but there was still a minute 30 plus left. We just ran out of downs. 1 timeout left, and we, really had to go 50 some yards or so, somewhere in there, that we had to get down the field to score. And for us, we didn't feel like that was an issue at all. We do that all the time. So, we're just trying to make sure we stay on the field. That was the biggest part. And, ultimately that was the problem. We didn't convert. We ended up having a sack that put us way behind the sticks, which really made things complicated there at the end. And so just trying to keep the ball moving forward against a defense that was pretty good at putting you in negative yardage situations. So I just didn't want the ball to go backwards at any point and then set up the shot plays, which I thought we had a good opportunity at a couple at the end, and we just obviously didn't connect.
Stay on the left side, we'll go to Will next.
Coach, what can you say about the job that Daniel Hill has done over the last few weeks in his performance in the game on Saturday as he's continued to carve out a larger role for himself?
Yeah, he's growing. Everything you want for young players. I think Daniel's, all the guys are competing for, playing time. That's the most valuable thing to them, is getting on the field and show that they can help the team. And, for Daniel, he's certainly done that. He wasn't perfect, just like any player. He's working to try to get better at things. But, I think he's shown the capability of being, the guy that can get those tough yards.
Go to Emily Grace, right in front right.
Coach, after having a chance to watch the film, what is the biggest takeaway and biggest point of emphasis going forward this week for you?
Yeah, it's, I hate saying it or even bringing it up, but it's turnovers. And, for us, the disappointing part was we always think we prep our guys for that. We always think that we practice that. And to this point in the season, it's been certainly a strong point for us. We have had turnovers, but we've never had more than one in a game. And so when you have critical turnovers and points that come off of the turnovers, and you put your defense in tough positions like that, those are crushing blows in a tight football game. So certainly that's a point of emphasis, is, decision-making with the ball. How do we take care of it when it is in our hands? So that's the whole thing, because we felt like, you take care of the ball, we win the game. And it was really that simple. They beat us in 2 categories, points and turnovers, and those are always the most important. So for our guys, they know that. They know the lesson that was learned there, and we'll certainly put even more emphasis moving forward at practice.
Let's go to Joe, second row on the left.
Coach, how would you assess the wide receiver play of late as far as route running and being in the right spots at the right times? And what's the impact that does for Ty Simpson as far as decision making?
You know, I thought they did a good job. I thought there were some really good routes. I thought guys did a good job of, crossing face on in breakers and got into open spaces in the middle of the field. And unfortunately, a couple of those we weren't able to hook up on, but we're getting better all the time, honestly. I think that some of our guys, the challenges that we've given them, they step up every week. They want to get better at it. I thought we've gotten better against press coverage. Just got to continue to work those man mechanics.
Go to Ryan right across the aisle.
Hey, Coach, what is your evaluation of the offensive line after watching the tape?
You know what? I thought they played well, honestly. I thought that the last 2 weeks they've been building. It's been a little bit of a slow build. I thought Wilkin played outstanding. We challenged him. Yeah, me personally, I put Wilkin, on a spot playing right guard that has not been something that he's done over his career, and he played really well. I thought, after you watch the film, the interior of the pocket was as good as I've seen all year. Like, countless times you saw Ty climbing the pocket and able to rip a ball over the middle, and I thought Wilk was a big part of that. So, the stability that they've brought, and then really, the run game part has a really good run defense. And honestly, what we did up front and how we executed was as good as we've done. I know it doesn't feel like that with 80 yards, but the reality is we've been, for the last month or better, it's tough to say, but we've averaged, between 7 and 9 negative yards runs per game. And on Saturday night, we had 2. And they were gains of 0, so technically they weren't negative. And both of those runs, I'll just say it, we just missed them. We had big holes that we just didn't friggin' hit, and it sucks, because the O-line worked their tails off. And that's a part that I know they see that. I know that our guys see that on film. So I thought the O-line played well. I know 4 sacks isn't, very sexy, but, that was a good front and a defense that plays well and could have got the ball a little quicker a couple times. But I thought they picked up some really good pressures and gave us a chance. And honestly, during the week of preparation, I think the O-line was the guys that have really brought the energy and the juice at practice. And I'm anticipating those guys continuing to build and honestly keep taking the right steps forward here late in the season.
All right, let's finish up with Theo, far left.
How do you evaluate Cuevas' performance out there, and do you think that we could see him playing a bigger role in the passing game going forward like he did on Saturday?
Josh is an elite tight end. He's as good a player as we have on this football team. He's heavily involved in the pass game every week. He's always a viable target. And, he's definitely a guy that has the courage to get in there and block as well. You saw him on a couple ISO blocks. He's a phenomenal player. He's a guy that breaks tackles. He's not just a tight end that's going to catch a stick route and fall down. He's absolutely a spark, in our, offense in a lot of different ways. So super valuable guy.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.